Alright, what's up? Welcome to the video. I'm going to be talking about how to structure your carb intake with the primary focus on muscle growth or gym performance. So let's just get straight into it. So as this says right here, the more carbs you can fit inside your maintenance calories, the better for training performance. This is because your body's preferred source of energy is carbohydrates when it comes to training in the gym. So starting off, your protein and fats should be in place as well. That is your main priority before focusing on your carb intake. You want your protein to be at least 1.6 grams per kilogram of body weight or 0.8 grams per pound of body weight, and fat 0.7 grams per kilogram or 0.3 to 0.4 grams per pound. Now this is minimum. You also don't need to go much higher than these values, but you definitely don't want to go lower than these values. And if you want to take away just one thing from this video, just hit these two targets right here, and the rest just put them towards carbohydrates. Because the more carbs you can fit inside your maintenance calories, the better for training performance. This is because your body's preferred energy source for training in the gym is carbohydrates. Your body is able to store carbs as a glycogen, which is your muscle's energy. When you're pushing your sets to failure, your body is using up your muscle glycogen, which, as I just said, is the stored carbs inside your muscle. So yeah, just have your protein and fat covered, have them in place, and then just eat as many carbs as you can within your maintenance budget. Or if you're bulking, just have your surplus be completely from carbs. Then when should you eat these carbs, and does it even matter when you eat them? Now, people say it matters a whole lot. In reality, it really doesn't, but there can be some benefits to eating your carbs at certain times. So yeah, basically the same as protein and fats, the total intake is what matters most. But if you were to eat the majority of your carbs at one point in the day, it should be after your workout. It should be your post-workout meal. People tend to think that their highest carb meal should be their pre-workout meal to fuel their gym session. But in reality, it should be your post-workout meal, because that is actually going to fuel your next session more than your pre-workout meal of that next session. So when you just hit the gym, your insulin sensitivity increases. This means that your muscle tissue is more receptive to glucose and amino acid uptake. Amino acid being proteins, glucose being carbohydrates. And then this is really important. Muscle glycogen refills fastest in the post-workout window. And that is because post-workout it is more receptive to this glucose. And during your workout, you are more dependent on your muscle glycogen rather than the carbs from your pre-workout meal. Your pre-workout meal is not filling up your muscle glycogen. It takes hours or even days to replenish muscle glycogen. Your pre-workout meal is just to top up your liver glycogen. But when you're pushing your sets to failure, your muscles are using up their stored glycogen, which is not from your pre-workout meal. That is from the carbs that you ate the day before, maybe even 2 days before. So let's say, for example, you just had a push day. You should then eat a lot of carbs post-workout so that your body can refuel the glycogen in your chest, triceps, shoulders, so that the next time you have your push day, your glycogen stores in those muscles are topped up, they are ready to go, and you can push your sets to failure. You're better off having full muscle glycogen and no pre-workout meal rather than your muscle glycogen being empty and having a solid high-carb pre-workout meal. Because then even in the scenario without the pre-workout meal, your muscles still have their glycogen. They have their energy stored to push hard. And if the glycogen stores are empty, yeah, you may have just eaten some carbs, but they are not stored in your muscles for energy yet. That takes days, as I said. So your muscles internally have no energy to run on, no energy to push themselves, and this will limit your session. Now, I'm not saying a pre-workout meal isn't important. It's definitely very beneficial, but a post-workout meal, high carbohydrate meal is more important, more beneficial than a high carb pre-workout meal. And especially if you have limited carbs throughout the day, you should prioritize them post-workout, because in the long run, that's going to fuel your sessions more than your pre-workout meal. But as I said, your pre-workout meal is still beneficial. So just quickly how to structure it. You just want fast carbs, low fat, low fiber. 50 to 100 grams of fast digesting carbs is going to be more than enough for most people. You should have this around 45 minutes before your workout, maybe 60. And yeah, quick digesting sources, white rice, ripe fruit, rice cakes, honey. And these will mainly top up your liver glycogen right before you're about to use it. And you want low fat and low fiber, both because these slow gastric emptying, which means they slow the digestion process. So if you have a high fat pre-workout meal, these carbs will not have been digested. They will not have topped up your liver glycogen after an hour. So maybe if you're training 2 hours away from this meal, sure, then have high fat or high fiber. But yeah, fats and fiber, they slow down the digestion. So if you're eating quick digesting carbs, training shortly after that, you don't want fats or fiber. And for protein, it's generally fine. It also depends. For example, some whey protein is very easily digestible. You can mix this with your pre-workout meal with these fast digesting carbs and be completely fine. If you have, for example, some yogurt, it's also fine. But yogurt does mainly consist of casein, which is slower digesting. So this might slightly slow down the digestion rate of your pre-workout meal. But I would say mainly focus on low fat and low fiber. Then post-workout, you're going to be replenishing the glycogen you burned. You're going to have 50 to 100 grams or more, if your caloric budget allows it, grams of carbs. You want to at least match your post-workout meal if your daily carb intake allows it, but preferably have even more carbs post-workout than pre-workout. So yeah, your glycogen stores are lower. You're going to be needing the carbs the most at this time of the day. As we already talked about, insulin sensitivity is elevated. But yeah, there's no need to rush it. There's no anabolic window. As long as you're hitting your daily carb intake, you will be fine. But if you just want to micro-optimize it, you should eat shortly after your training session. Intra-workout, I personally am not really a big fan of this. I don't ever really feel like I need it. Maybe if you're doing like 2-hour full body sessions, you can have some intra-workout carbs, but generally, you won't need it. So if you're doing very long sessions, you can sip on a carbohydrate drink, like a Gatorade or a Powerade, and in around 50 grams of carbs. And this is just going to help keeping your blood glucose steady, so you can maintain a nice amount of energy during your session. You can also carb mouth rinse. You can literally just put the Gatorade into your mouth, rinse it for like 15 to 20 seconds, spit it out. You don't have to consume it, and this will have the same effect as actually drinking the carbs. Your tongue can sense carbohydrates being present, and this will signal to your brain that you have energy coming, which well, you actually don't, but your brain thinks you do. So then you will also be able to maintain high energy levels. So just quickly an example, here you have your breakfast. Don't really need to put that many carbs towards your breakfast unless it's the first meal you're eating before your training. So you can include some fiber, some fats in this meal. You won't be using this energy to train anytime soon. If your pre-workout meal, 50 to 100 grams of fast carbs. This meal have low fat and low fiber. Intra-workout, I would say usually is not required, but you can use this if you want to. And then post-workout, just match your pre-workout meal in terms of carbs, preferably even more carbs. And you should also include some protein in this meal. Then you're probably going to be having more meals in between this. Just include some carbs in every meal. Carbs before bed also don't hurt. They'll just help replenishing your muscle glycogen overnight. You might need to experiment with this. Some people struggle sleeping if they eat very big meals before they go to bed. So just see what works for you. But carbs before bed, carbs after 8 p.m., they don't make you fat. It's not harmful. If you had a hard training session, those carbs, even late at night, will be put towards muscle glycogen. If this all sounds so confusing, it really isn't. Mainly cover your protein and fats first, and then just eat as many carbs as you can. This range of carbs pre-workout from these sources. Then post-workout, just slam as many carbs as you comfortably can. Yeah, if you're having sessions of over 2 hours, have some intra-workout, that's fine. And carbs before bed are not bad. They actually support overnight glycogen. So if you have any questions, let me know down in the comments. It's pretty simple. Get your protein, get your fats, and then just slam carbs and enjoy the great pumps and sessions.